This is Wake the F Up podcast.
F is for fabulous.
I'm Andy Dooley.
And I'm Kat Torres. Wake the F Up is all about celebrating the great drama of life, the beauty and the brutality. And
tapping into your true divinity, your creativity, because you are the universe pretending to be human.
It's fabulous. The whole idea is to get free, right?
Your RAS, your RAS gets activated. Your reticular activating system gets activated. And it can be for positive or negative. That's what I want to wake the F up and realize your pet peeves are gifts. And the more you can discard those pet peeves, the quicker your vibe is going to rise. And the more you can see the exact opposite. Like if you've been hardcore, right. People drive fast, people drive crazy, nobody uses their indicator. That's been your story. And right. Now you say, all right, I'm going to test this law of attraction. And you start saying, everywhere I go, people are putting on their indicators. I always feel safe in my car. Now, first, you're going to get a mix. You're going to see some of the old. You're going to see some of the new. It's going to be glitch, and you're going to want to justify yourself and feel right because that's the chemical addiction that you have. But if you stay committed to seeing that people drive, that there's great drivers out there who always use their turn indicators, that's what you'll start to manifest. It's the law.
It is the law, you know. And you know what? At the end of the day, your pet peeves are bullshit. Like you are being bothered by a petty detail in reality. And when we understand what energy really does, which is building blocks that creates reality, how dare you waste your precious creative energy on hating on something that is so ridiculous? Become an unbotherable now ninja, actually, and just...
Hey, welcome to Wake the F Up podcast.
Wake the F Up. F is for fabulous. Just saying.
That is right. Today, Kat and I are talking about pet peeves.
Pet peeves.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
It's a good topic.
Yes, the things that we love to hate, Andy. The things that we love to hate.
Yeah. You know, I was been thinking about pet peeves, and I love how it really validates law of attraction and that we're creating our reality. And when you have this pet peeve, this thing that you love to hate, you keep that story going, you keep perpetuating it, so then therefore you keep attracting it and getting evidence of it. And it's such a validation that thoughts become things. And if it's really got your goat, you're just going to keep getting it wherever you go.
That's right. Pet peeves are like, it's like a secret little chemical that we're addicted to in the body. You know, even though we say that we wish that people were friendlier and that they would not cut us off in the traffic. If you love to hate people cutting you off in the traffic, guess what? The universe has got some fresh cutting off in the traffic for you. And it is perfectly tailored to the very thing that you can't stand. But the problem with all of this is that we're secretly addicted to it. You see, it's like a chemical shitstorm that you're secretly addicted to.
One of the, I did some Googling, and here's a list of 10 pet peeves that I'm sure you guys will be able to relate to. Number 1, loud chewing. Ooh, yes. I admit that if I'm at a table with somebody, no matter how much I love them, or if I just met them, if they're chewing with their mouth open, I'm like, oh, please don't do that.
The things that you love to hate, Andy.
Yes. Interrupting conversations. Ooh.
Yeah. That old chestnut, you know, it is a thing, isn't it? You know, the dominating person in the room. Interesting. What's another one?
Well, I'm okay with somebody who's good at the flow of conversation, the art of listening and receiving, but it's the person who's just totally oblivious and they just keep interrupting and they're not aware. They can't read the energy. Like, no, I'm in the middle of a story. Why are you interrupting me? Can you tell like there's a beginning, middle, and end and we're in the middle? Yeah. So anyway.
Yes. Interruptus maximus. It's like passing the baton, isn't it, of energy and to be a part of the conversation with flow and with ease. And it's also like not needing to be right about everything and know everything. Like, shh.
Yeah. Okay. Other top 10 pet peeves. People who are consistently late.
Oh, yeah. Does that one get you?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that one gets me.
And not too much, because now we have text messages and someone can say, hey, I'm running late. And you're like, okay. And by the way, anytime anybody says, hey, I'll be there in 5 minutes, it's always 15. It's always 15. It's never 5.
It's so true. It's the myth of the 5 minutes is real.
Right. Another top 10 pet peeve is poor hygiene.
Stinky malinky.
That doesn't, I guess if I lived or worked with someone and they always came in really like just shabby, it would be like, okay,
mate.
But otherwise,
polish it up. Yeah. We all have a different example of what poor hygiene is. Because, for instance, when I first met my husband, Ryan, I didn't know he was going to be my husband, obviously. But he used to wear a lot of like Old Spice, the Old Spice deodorant. And I'd be like, could you stop wearing that for a bit so I could smell you? Because I think it's important to know how someone actually smells. Especially if you're going to like do the dance with them, then if you can't smell them, there's missing information, man. And that's not good. But that could be considered the smell of poor hygiene, like the actual just normal human pheromone vibes to be considered. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what is personal hygiene to you? It's different for everyone.
Oh, yeah, I get it too. I remember I was dating a girl and she always wear a lot of rose. I know spiritual people like the smell of rose, and rose can be beautiful, but just doused herself in rose, and it was just like, I can't do this.
Too many roses, too many thorns in the roses.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Or, the pet peeve of, I'm going to go through this list, and then we're going to get into how we're attracting this, how we literally with a pet peeve, because we just think it's some random thing that just is happening. And then the more we put energy into it and talk about it, the more we get it, where we can do the exact opposite. And I love how just pet peeves validate, you create your reality.
They do.
But there's somebody who in the Boulder dance community who refuses to wear deodorant. And it's just the opposite of it. It's just like, well, if I went to every ecstatic dance and wore a bunch of Calvin Klein cologne, people would be like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things. Okay. Another pet peeve, top 10 pet peeves, is people being dishonest, lying.
Don't lie. I mean, it's okay to lie down, but don't lie.
Yeah, don't lie. Tell the truth.
I have a story about the bear truth who, I'll just share with you a quick little gag. Like, my story of the bear truth is that the bear truth has the ultimate truth, but he's only telling the truth when he's sitting up, because when he's lying down. Anyway, carry on.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you.
I love that. The bear truth.
Yeah. You just got a truth ache,
Good. Yeah. Okay. Slow walkers is a pet peeve. Right. We've all been in a situation where you're with somebody kind of new and, maybe you're trying to catch a flight or you're just walking around and they're like really slow. And you're like, oh my God, you walk this slow?
Well, it's different if it's for you're at an airport and there's a bit of a motivation to walk fast, Andy. But like, I have a friend who's like seriously, going for a walk with him is like going for an athletic walk. Like it's a race, and we just might be just doing a beach walk, but he's walking with a level of conviction, like he's really going somewhere, where I just want to lap up like the sunshine, sounds of the ocean, sand,
right.
And, so, like each their own. Sometimes walking too fast is just annoying.
The location and everything. Location is really set and setting. Reason. Yeah. Okay, this is a big one. People who do not use their turn signals.
Ryan Woodward. Yeah. So it's a shout out to my husband. You know what? Here in Australia, I always tell Ryan, like, but babe, you have to indicate. But he has spent most of his life in Los Angeles and in LA. He says that on the 40, like, what is it? The on the highways, right? When you indicate 405, yeah. If you indicate, then the person who you're trying to pull like in front of, right, actually speeds up. So he's learned to not put his indicator on because it creates a race in LA. Whereas here in Australia, people are really, really grateful for the indication. And they'll let you in. They'll pull back for you. It's very friendly, I'm being really general here. Please don't email me about the angry traffic in Melbourne. I get it.
Okay.
Yeah, carrot.
Well, I agree. And again, this is, Ryan has a story, you have a story, I have a story. People who don't put on their indicators, sometimes it can be annoying for me, but not all the time. But again, if you've got a story, people are terrible drivers, nobody uses their indicators, then you're going to manifest that everywhere.
And this is a really great thing to understand about pet peeves is that it's like a little pet. You've got a pet and you feed it. And you feed it and you love it and you nurture it. You pet your pet. You're like, hey, little pet, I love you so much. So when your attention is feeding a pet peeve, someone who cuts you off on traffic, the fact that humans are just terrible drivers, like if you're feeding that pet and nurturing it and loving it with your precious, precious, precious attention, then essentially it's a form of love. Like noticing something over and over and over is a form of love, which is why the whole pet peeves conversation is so interesting because it really is the things that you love to hate and you love it. If you are expecting people to cut you off in traffic, it's like you driving along, everyone's being cool and everyone's just being cool, but you are waiting for that one that's about to cut you off in the traffic and your eyes are so peeled for that person. You're like waiting, you're on the edge of the nowness of the moment. And then when it happens, when that one person cuts you off in the traffic, then you get to have that explosion of energy like, you freaking so-and-so cut me off. See, humans do this. And it's like you get to be right. You get to be right with the energy. And so all that conviction, all that love that you've got going on to hate the people who cut you off in traffic is being satisfied by the law of attraction. Boom.
Boom. It is. It's that desire to be right. See, I told you because you have a bigger story about humanity and people. And so you're proving yourself right. You get that emotional charge, that dopamine of, see, I'm right.
I'm right. And you're wrong. More to the point.
Yeah. And that's why we love to hate. We love to hate our pet peeves.
Yeah. We love to hate them. Peeves. Yeah, your pet peeves. You love to hate them.
We love to hate.
So here's the thing. When you have a personality that has been built around, we're using the example currently of people cutting us off in traffic, right? So if you've built a personality around really disliking people who are unfriendly on the roads, people who cut you off, people who are not caring of their surroundings, then what happens is over time, when you've built this, it's not just a mood, it's become like an actual personality trait, then you actually have an addiction, a chemical addiction to feeling a little bit of frustration. A little bit of frustration when you go on the roads and you see unfriendly people. It's like, and so that addiction, it's like a coffee addiction, or it's like having an addiction to alcohol or drugs or whatever your thing is, right? Maybe it's scrolling. Like, you just got to do it a little bit. You just got to do it a little bit, And so you don't really feel like you until you've done it just a little bit, until you felt that frustration, until you felt that unworthiness in the morning. Like you don't feel like you until you've had that little vibe. And that's why pet peeves, you got to see it as pets that you're loving. You love your pets. Of course you don't neglect your pet.
Yes.
Now, if you want to get rid of your pet peeves, you've actually got to stop feeding the stray animal that's coming to your door of your consciousness. You got to stop feeding it. You got to stop looking after it. You got to stop giving it your precious, precious attention. And by doing that, then now you're getting some control over the chemical shitstorm that's governing you, that's ruling you from the inside out.
Yeah. And that leads to, and this is one of the hardest changes, and I love that we're talking about this, is we get that chemical addiction. We love to prove ourselves right. And it becomes our personality. Dr. Joe Dispenza said, your personality creates your personal reality.
Exactly.
Pet peeves you're creating the pet peeves. You're creating the evidence. You're feeding that pet peeve. And that's why change and transformation can be so hard, is because you're addicted to proving yourself right in traffic or with people who are noisy or chew with their mouth open.
Yeah.
And then it keeps you in a sense of certainty. And yep, see, this is my reality. See, every time I go out in my car, people are bad. Every time, I go to the coffee shop, I get bad customer service. It's like you could tell a different story and you could have a different experience. And that's what we want to get to. Wake the F up. You're dreaming all of this.
It's you're actually addicted to all parts of your personality, to wounded parts of your personality, to victim mentality. And it's like, but here's the thing, everybody, just relax. Like, we've all done it a little bit. It's just not a huge fail, but it's really important to understand that if you're addicted to worry a little bit, if you're just addicted to, frustration a little bit, then just by understanding that you are actually addicted, then you can do something about it. And actually, like, if you go, everyone knows someone, right, who worries a little bit about everything all of the time. Like there's that one person, like sometimes it's the older generation too, like your mum or your grandma or something, like people who are like really just love to worry a little bit about everything. What if it doesn't work out? Have you got insurance? Things there can be plot twists in life. And so when you understand, like, there's this little bit of addiction to personality, then we can actually start to shift it. But it's the blindness to it that's really the problem, I feel.
Right. And I want to challenge everybody listening right here, right now, to be aware, starting today for the next week until you listen to us again. I want you to be aware of your pet peeves. What irks you? What gets you? And instead of settling and saying, well, this is just how it is. People are bad. People are loud. People lie. People can't spell. This is just the crazy world we live in. Go, wait a minute. There are people out there who always put on their indicator. There are people out there that are always polite. There are people out there who love to give great customer service. But if you're on the bitch train, when you call, you're going to get the difficult customer service person instead of the person who loves to help you. Right? It's powerful.
You got to make sure that you don't join the difficult, and definitely don't become the leader of the difficult. We get together to talk about how hard shit is. Oh, it's just so hard. Building a business, it's so hard. It's like, stop it. You're addicted.
The difficult, I love how you have the difficult. It's a cult. It's part of nowism. If you guys are aware, Kat has the whole nowism thing. It's amazing. And so, don't join the difficult who's on the bitch train. Right? They ride the bitch train.
They do. And they're feeding their pet peeves the whole way.
This is creating a new whole narrative. Okay, the difficult ride the bitch train and feed their pet peevs. Right. And it just gets worse and worse.
They're sipping the tea from the pity party.
Oh, right.
They're in this constant relationship with fear and worry. They play their favorite music's being played by the worry dolls. They're just like worried about stuff. Just worried about it.
Oh, okay. I got a few more pet peeves, and then we can talk a little bit more. And by the way, if you're listening, thank you so much. And please like, subscribe, share it with a friend, leave a comment with what your pet peeves are.
Yeah. And what you're going to do about it.
Yeah. Okay. Noise pollution. I was surprised that was on this list. But I honestly, I got to admit, it's a little pet peeve because for me, like just today, on today's Tuesday, they come and do all the yard work and the blowing and the weed whacking and the mowing. And, we all know those blowers at first when they came out, when they invented blowers, it was like the greatest invention ever. And then like, oh my God, those noise blowers are at 7:00 a.m. in the morning. Like, do you really need to blow the grass clippings away? Like, the wind will do this. Anyway, I'm now letting go of like, of being like, oh, those stupid. I mean, I'd rather have them taking care of the yard than not.
Yes. Can I tell you?
So noise.
Can I? I just want to confess to a situation this morning, Andy. This morning, as I was getting ready for our podcast, there are a bunch of lorikeets that have moved into the trees here. Now, you and I just got over the crows through the summer, where the crows in the background of the podcast on the cat door side of things is actually polluting our podcast, damn it. And so, so now I've moved and I'm in a different place, but then these lorikeets moved in. So I was closing all of the doors and the windows before I was like, Andy's going to hate this noise pollution. He's going to hate it.
Well, only reason, because I have to edit it all out.
I know. And so I was really like, oh no, not the lorikeets.
Okay, I love those lorikeets.
Australia is so noisy though. Come on.
Okay, these last two are really big. I think everyone's going to relate to this. Whether you do this or somebody does it to you. Especially if you're, so number 9 is poor grammar or spelling. Oh my God. If if you're a content creator and you send out emails or post on social media, I'm always surprised at not so much anymore because I use Grammarly. I'm not, this isn't sponsored, but I use Grammarly now.
Yeah.
And Grammarly rocks. So I'll write a rough draft email, fine tune it, and then I'll give it to Grammarly. And then Grammarly, helps me clean up the punctuation and everything. So I don't get those grammar Nazis anymore. But before, oh my God, these people, where do they come from?
Right. They send you emails about how terrible your English is and that you should have better English.
Yeah. Yeah. I love you, grammar Nazis out there. There's a place for you.
Yeah. And you're feeding the pet. They're busy feeding the pets.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I do get it though. Great grammar, well-written grammar really, it's beautiful to read. It's poetry, it's art, and a properly placed comma really makes a difference. But then,
I feel you. I was going to say one of my dear friends, Chef Cynthia Louise, she's like super dyslexic, but sometimes that's what creates a beautiful character to her writing because she has these really whack ways of spelling stuff, and so then I'm like, oh, that's super deep, man. Depends on how. Yeah. The thing is about the stimulated actual, like when you see something that you don't like, but then you let yourself really feel something around it, right? Like I think we all have dislikes, but sometimes you don't have to get on the pedestal and actually bang the drum about how much you hate something, right? Which is what a pet peeve is. It's something where you feel vocally like sort of justified and revealing your hatred of this particular thing in reality. Super fascinating.
Yeah, in reality, that pet peeve is a gift. There's something under that and something under that. Right. And when you do work with one-on-one clients like Kat and I do, and you find out, why. Okay, so why does that bother you? And then they reveal, well, we've got to follow the rules. Grammar must be proper.
Right.
Why do we have to follow the rules? Well, I was raised by a disciplinary military family. And it's like, and if you don't do things right, then there's major consequences. And,
right. Couldn't have dessert if you spelt the words wrong, mate. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Number 10, I think we can all relate to not liking this, but, learning to find the gift in it. And that's, people who are negative, complaining, just refuse to see the good in anything or anybody.
Forgive them for they know not what they do. It's really about the contrast, isn't it? Everyone's providing contrast to each other, providing a little bit of contrast. I personally, one of my hates in this world is actually, it's quite weird actually. I hate peanuts. And I'm okay with it. This is a pet peeve. How's this? Like, I'm really okay with hating peanuts. And I sort of have a joke about how the one strong hatred of peanuts keeps balanced in my universe because I'm actually hyper positive about most other things. So having one piercing hatred sort of keeps me human. But what's your pet peeve, everybody? Like, we'd love to hear from you in the chat or in the comment section of our podcast on YouTube or on any of the Spotify or Apple things. Get in there.
Yeah.
I want to learn about your pet peeves.
Yeah, so like an overall thing for pet peeves that I think is really great, and I love shining this light on it because it's one of those things that kind of flies under the radar, because we can be all like, I create my reality. I love, being a manifester, a deliberate creator. And then we'll just live with these pet peeves. We carry them around instead of looking at it like, wait, this is a gift. It's reflecting back to me something I don't like to see or that I like to rebel against or that I want to be right and they are wrong. And really, rising above it. This is step 4 in the teachings of Abraham Hicks, living unconditionally, meaning the conditions don't have to be different in order for me to feel good. And can you feel yourself? I mean, I'd love to inspire you to rise above the conditions and be like, I'm going to not let my pet peeves, I'm going to stop feeding them.
So this is where I feel like if you're listening, you got to really tune in about whether you really want to change your hating of this thing. And this is the really interesting thing about pet peeves is that they are the things that you love to hate. It's like there's a little bit of an energetic kickback from hating on the thing. But if you are ready to clean up your vibration, if you're ready to actually clear out your mental atmosphere and have better light lines to the universe and actually use the technology, the spiritual technology to create reality more specifically, more brilliantly, more craftedly, then you've got to trade in your pet peeves. You actually have to trade in this part of your personality and sacrifice it, actually. And I think that one of the things here, Andy, and I'd love to hear your comments on this. Do you think that over time it's just become a little bit unsexy to be positive? Like it's, in other words, it's just a lot sexier to have a chip on your shoulder, to be hating the people who cut you off in the traffic. Like stylistically, as human beings, as far as energy goes, I think that positivity has become quite unpopular, actually.
Yeah, I'm glad you pointed that out because I do see a trend where, it's been going positive, and now people are like wanting to, throw shade on positivity. And that's normal. We go through trends, we go through swings. And I think what I want to inspire the listener today to do is turn your pet peeves into possibilities and turn your pet peeves into, by letting them go, your vibe is going to raise. Can you imagine you going out into traffic? Let's say your pet peeve is drivers and traffic, and just being much more neutral, easygoing about it. And noticing all the people who are doing good. Like there's way more people driving very well than there are bad drivers.
Yes.
Customer service. There's way more people out there giving great customer service than there are giving bad customer service. And we did a challenge last summer, and it was phenomenal inside the Manifestors Cafe, where we all started telling the story. Everywhere I go, I get VIP treatment. Everywhere I go, people open doors for me. Everywhere I go, I get the, buy one, get one free deal. I'm in the right place at the right time. And people started telling that story. And all of a sudden, we had all these different stories of people being in the right place at the right time, receiving amazing customer service. It works. I challenge the listener right now to start telling the story of everywhere I go, I get VIP service. Like that's the opposite of a pet peeve. That's like a positive pet.
Right.
A positive
and
pet.
It's just really simple. It's like, sometimes we want to say it's super magical, but you know what? It's not. It's about using the law. Like if, when you start shopping around for a car and you get interested, say in the latest Tesla model, and you read about it and you study it and you invest your precious attention in it for a little while, then of course, like as you're driving around, you start to see them around. Like when there's one near you, you're like, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. There it is. Like this is literally just the use of the law, which is deliberate and in a way that's working for you instead of it being super rando or against you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the scientific term. I love that example, and we all know it. Your RAS, your RAS gets activated. Your reticular activating system gets activated, and it can be for positive or negative. That's what I want to wake the F up and realize your pet peeves are gifts. And the more you can discard those pet peeves, the quicker your vibe is going to rise, and the more you can see the exact opposite. Like if you've been hardcore, right. People drive fast, people drive crazy, nobody uses their indicator. That's been your story. And now you say, all right, I'm going to test this law of attraction. And you start saying, everywhere I go, people are putting on their indicators. I always feel safe in my car. Now, first, you're going to get a mix. You're going to see some of the old. You're going to see some of the new. It's going to be glitch, glitch, glitch. And you're going to want to justify yourself and feel right because that's the chemical addiction that you have. But if you stay committed to seeing that people drive, that there's great drivers out there who always use their turn indicators, that's what you'll start to manifest. It's the law.
It is the law, you know. And you know what? At the end of the day, your pet peeves are bullshit. Like you're being bothered by a petty detail in reality. And when we understand what energy really does, which is building blocks that creates reality, how dare you waste your precious creative energy on hating on something that is so ridiculous? Become an unbotherable now ninja, actually, and just move beyond, actually. Did I say actually too many times? Actually.
Actually, I don't think you did.
I just thought that actually was a girl's name. Anyway.
Yes. Oh, can you imagine a mom or whoever naming their child Actually?
Actually. It's like such a...
Ashley.
It's an in-between. It's an in-between word. Actually.
Right. Yeah, I have one of my best friends, Ashley. And for a while, every time people would say Ashley, and I'd be like, did you say Ashley or actually? Wait, what? And I'm like, Ashley, are you aware of this, that your name is just a little tweak and you think everybody's calling you Actually. Anyway. Actually. Bigger, you just mentioned a gem, and I want everybody to get this, lock this in, write this down.
Abstract.
You want to have a bigger vision, a bigger purpose. And it's a really good indicator if you've got a bunch of pet peeves about negativity and drivers and customer service and people chewing with their mouth open and people pulling out their chair. I've got to let that go. People pulling out their chair at a coffee table and not putting it back in. It's like, come on, people.
Got it.
But when you have a bigger vision and dream and you're living with purpose and passion, your pet peeves become irrelevant. You're just not going to give them any attention because you're on a mission. You've got a vision. That's what you want.
You don't have time for pet peeves. What pet peeves? My mind is so filled to overflowing with the glory of the possibility and what's emerging right now that I can't even hear pet peeve. I can't even see the pet peeve, you know. It's time to give it up, people.
It's really true. Anybody right now, think of a time in your life where you were really passionate and excited about something. A time you fell in love, right? When you're in love with somebody, it's this new romance. You don't see their pet peeves. You don't see anybody's pet peeves. You're just goo gaga in love. Mm-hmm. So let's all fall in love with the now. Let's fall in love with our lives. Let's fall in love with the fact that we are deliberate creators here on planet Earth during this great awakening. Yes. Can I get a namaste?
You can. And, we've just been thinking, Andy, when everybody simultaneously, because of our podcast, Wake the F Up, episode fabulous, if everybody gives up their pet peeves simultaneously, do you think that somewhere in the idea sphere that there is a pound full of pet peeves, or do they more like get dissolved and released back into the wild and they just dissolve into an energetic space? Is there a pet peeve pound? We don't want to lock them up. We sort of want to dissolve them rather, right?
No, there is a pet peeve planet. Pet peeve planet.
Pet peeve planet. Oh, they get together and they annoy each other.
It's just a planet. That's where, look, okay, you know how so here's the new thing. Spiritual people don't, if you're very spiritual woo-woo, and when you die, instead of going to source energy heaven, you go to pet peeve planet and you have to work at all your pet peeves before you can graduate to eternal bliss.
Oh, the pet peeves.
man.
One of the ones that is easy to hate on is people who say sorry all the time. Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry. Anyway, in my story, Free Will and Dr. Now and all that jazz, Tom Oro has a bunch of pet peeves that lives at his feet, and he really hates people who apologize. And so every time these pets get in the way and he knocks into them and they're like, sorry. And sorry all day, sorries. Carry on.
Oh, sorry. Well, actually, yesterday I went snowboarding in Breckenridge, and I met a nice lady in the parking lot, and then we went up and went snowboarding together for a little bit. And one of the things that she was very positive and go, but I think she must have mentioned, a dozen times about her ADHD. But I got the ADHD, blah, 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 my ADHD. And it's not a pet peeve, but it's just that reinforcing that story. Yeah. This is who I am. I'm dealing with this thing.
Yeah.
And so really, I mean, whatever it is, and we all do have different mental things. I can totally relate to having ADHD, so I can talk about it. I feel like I'm safe. But when I really want to focus and get shit done, no, this is the project. This is what I'm doing. Let's get it done. It becomes more than a pet peeve. It becomes a characteristic. It becomes, I have this thing. I can't work over it. I'm stuck, whether it's depression or, I can't sleep or whatever.
Right.
Again, this is like a pet peeve that's now become a personality trait.
Yes.
So anyway, it's like we're creating all of it. You guys got to be careful what you're thinking, what you're speaking into existence, because you create your reality.
It's true, and we're not saying don't feel your feels, all right? Just to disclaim out for a little minute. This practice is not about glazing over and just pretending, but it is about there are gifts for you to find in your ADHD or the little glitches that you have that have built part of your personality. And as you acknowledge that and you extract all the gifts from it, and there will be plenty, at some point, this is where the rubber hits the road, people. It's like an anticlimax to all of the other wonderful cathartic practices that can help you find your alignment and move into the next stage of your evolution. The real work is in the art of your nowism. How are you turning up in the present moment? What story are you running in your mind? What are the beliefs that you lean into? What are the feelings that you allow yourself to feel every day in a normalized way? The real work is about opting out of old stories and opting into a new story. And so feel your feels, yes. But if you're really ready to create your transformation, you're going to have to rewrite the script. It's just a normal, under the hood part of this practice. It can be very misunderstood or, it requires your precious attention. It needs some rehearsal. It needs your reps, and it starts right now.
It does. Yeah. Let's do some reps right now. And, we all have the story where we are right now, what it is, who we are. This is how I am. It's hard to change. I've tried. It doesn't work. And then it's like, it does work. It does work. And we just did the Infinite Possibilities Train the Trainer program this past weekend, which was great. We had about 200 people being certified, 18 different countries. And one of the things I said during that to train the trainer was, it's not that you're not good enough, because that's a big belief that comes up for people. It's not that you're not good enough. It's probably that you're not committed enough. You got to be committed to believing in yourself, committed to the dream, committed to the new story, daily. That's being a deliberate creator. And that's what I do with my clients in the Manifestors Cafe. Kat teaches that as well. So this is the part of the story where I start focusing. This is the part of the story where I have fun. This is the part of the story where I let go of my baggage, my pet peeves, my lack, limitation, and separation, and I step into my power. This is the part of the story where I reclaim my divinity. Can I get a namaste?
You can, and I will namaste. This is a romance that is so personal. What I love about Andy's work is he's really creating a space for like-minded humans to come together and actually practice the language, because, I see this with myself when I first start to change a part of myself. And then also when I'm working with clients, you see where the muscles are weak. You know, if you have a story around not having enough money, I could tell you now, you could get a Grammy Award, an Oscar for your performance of lack. Like, you're really, really good at it, you know. Learning the language of fullness, of abundance, to call in being the right condition for money is practice. That's right, I'm abundant. That's right, all my needs are abundantly met. That's right, I have what I need when I need it. You know, that what Andy creates is like a space for individuals to come and bang around in the language until you get it right, because you can only learn it by doing it. And even though your intellect right now understands the method to this madness, doing it is different to talking about it, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, I just heard Bashar say something that's kind of obvious, but it was so good. And he said something to the effect that taking action, you know, whether it's verbally speaking it, because that's taking action, actually doing the thing, you know, making it happen with your hands, but that's the language of physical reality.
Right.
It's the language of physical reality, because when we're not in a physical body being this character in a movie that we're creating, we're infinite, we're source, we're all that is. And we don't know what coffee tastes like and chocolate tastes like and what an orgasm feels like. We don't know. And so now when we're changing our identity and rewriting the script, action is the language of physical reality. And it's delicious to take action, to feel, to touch, to run, to dance, to take a hot shower. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Oh, yes. So good. You know, and it's like what your brother Mike Dooley talks about, like, you are the ears and the eyes of the universe. Like, it is living and breathing as you. You know, and what a wonderful honor it is to be a individualized expression of the cosmic goodness. You know, live full out, love out loud, and do the physical things. But the practice and being in the embodiment of this it's so magical to do it. And when we realize that our personality traits can actually change, like, you're not just a victim of your circumstances and your history that have built this personality, like, you can change it by deciding, by thought alone. But you got to get interested. Yeah. And you got to go to Andy's Manifesting Cafe to actually learn the language and get into a momentum and actually workshop the word of trick. Is that a word? The word of trick of the beingness, you know, like, I recommend it.
I highly recommend it. I endorse it. I give you 5 stars, Cat Doors, for your work in Nowism and planetary revolution, transformation.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Right. All right. Well, this has been a juicy, delicious call. I think we can start to wrap this up.
So good.
And I want you guys to all love your pet peeves and transform them into possibilities and watch your vibration rise. Get underneath the hood of your pet peeve to find out why that's your pet peeve and why you love to hate it. And, you know, love to hate, like, come on, like, we got to raise, we got to rise. You can do better.
So wake the F up. Thank you for joining us. Please go to andydooley.com and check out the Manifestors Cafe. Also, I reckon that you should buy a mug from Andy, because there's some funny shit there in his store. Very cool. Yeah. And if you want to learn more about Nowism, the game of Nowism, or anything to do with me in general, this weirdo over here, then please go to catdoors.com. That's DAWES, not DOORS, although I love and wish that my name was spelled like that. See you out there. Thanks for turning up, Andy. Good topic.
Woo! Bye.
Ciao.